Welcome to episode 13 of The Correction. I will be your host tonight, RT Random Task from Bravado Trading. And Cheese could not join us tonight. He is unfortunately at a business meeting of sorts. Well, oh, there we are. We're live on YouTube. All right, excellent. So tonight we're going to dive into a theme that emerged in mid-2017 with the emergence of Binance and BNB, the exchange token model. It was very lucrative for the ICO buyers. And of course, as we know, it has been copycatted a number of times, starting with things like KuCoin and KCS, Huobi token more recently, and a number of others that we're going to be getting into. But before we do that, I got a couple of sort of boring things that I should attend to real quick. So let me get those out of the way. The information provided by Bitcoin Bravado and accompanying material is for informational purposes only and should not be used as a basis for investment advice or other purposes. It should not be considered legal or financial advice. The information is governed by our terms of use, and you should consult with an attorney or other professional to determine what may be the best for your individual needs. I am not a registered investment advisor, and we are not recommending that you buy anything. I am simply sharing my plan of attack and my thoughts about the market. Excellent. So glad to get that out of the way. And it's nice to see Castillo Trading up in here. Good evening. And yes, the correction is in effect. Tonight, really, the reason I put this theme on tonight's show, and when I was thinking about what content I wanted to put out tonight, I was thinking, I've been in Beaxy, involved with Beaxy and thinking about Beaxy actually since before they even announced their private pre-sale. I mean, I saw their website when it was like details coming soon, and I was excited. Somebody showed it to me. I was like, oh, that looks cool. It was actually, it was after Binance and all that, but I mean, it was a while ago. And so as we get closer and closer to the live trading and the price discovery and that, and I'm seeing a lot of the banter in the Discord, and I think it just makes sense to kind of go back, look at where we started with exchange tokens, see maybe what Beaxy's bringing, what they're going to offer that's a little different. And I'm not here to go like, we're going to the moon. I mean, obviously I'm invested. I've got a bunch of Beaxy. I think it will do well. But I think we should temper our expectations in the short term. And I'm going to get into why. I'm going to get into the difference between sort of the market state when Binance launched, some of the catalysts that drove its early growth, as well as what I expect to happen. And most importantly, I want to preface this entire conversation tonight with nobody knows what's going to happen. Nothing is certain. It could, like nobody knows. And as a trader, I work and operate in the world of probabilities and possibilities. Anything's possible, and it's sort of my job as I see it as a trader to decide what I think is more or less probable and then act accordingly. So, could it go to $10,000 next week? I mean, theoretically, something, like it's not, but you know what I mean? Like it's within the realm, but it's like so unlikely that, you don't trade off that. So that's sort of my early ramble to the show. So it is a little strange being on the stream alone tonight. I do love having Cheese here. I miss him dearly. Wherever you are, Cheesy, I hope you're doing all right. And if I keep looking over here, it's because I can't screen share my main screen. For anyone who hasn't seen the show before, I have an issue with my resolution on the screen. So I get to look over here a lot. So bear with me. All right, so let's take a look at a chart. I want to get some charts up here, something visual for you guys to look at early on. So let's get a share going, and we'll just start in the beginning. Okay, before there was Beaxy, before there was an exchange tokens, there was this idea. It was a great idea. I want to talk about it. Google Chrome. There it is. Scan. All right, we're good. All right. So I don't have Cheese here to confirm, but I'm sure you can see that. Excuse me. So, yeah. So here we have sort of the big zoom out of Binance token. And I just, I think it's important to point out that it wasn't always a thing, right? I mean, there was a time when it was just like any other token. And I think it wasn't really until the bear market where everything dumped, especially altcoins, and they all dumped, some of them up to 98%. Some of them are still sitting in the 98, 90%, 99% drawdown. I mean, to be fair, it's a drawdown from like an insanely overinflated price that was never realistic to begin with. But it stands to reason, the fact remains it's a 99% drawdown. And during that big drawdown, you can see here on the chart, Binance kind of held its own. It actually turned into a bit of a hedge of sorts. It was the one thing people were like, you know what, I can put my money in there. I can stash my value there because it has utility, right? Exchange tokens came out and they were basically one of the first, not the first, I would argue that Ethereum would be, the first sort of major use case that emerged through, the fundraising model that ICOs provided. However, shortly after that, exchange tokens came out on the scene with the launch of Binance, but it wasn't always fun and games. I mean, let's zoom into this little nothing, right? So if you were a Binance investor, if you bought speculator, whatever you're going to call it, if you bought some BNB at the ICO, you probably, much like us Beaxians, had a lot of buildup, a lot of hype, maybe some delays. I don't even know. I didn't hear about it until somewhere in here, actually. It was actually, where was my first? Anyways, it was actually right here, my first Binance buy. So I don't know what part of this day I remember hearing about it, but it was slowly trickling up. So anyways, let's take a look here, because this is the thing I wanted to talk about tonight, because I'm very excited about Beaxy and BXY. And, there's 60,000 pre-registered users. Binance has 12 million. We're not there. We're not going to be there for a long while. And those 65,000 pre-registered users are not necessarily high volume traders. A lot of them, I imagine, are speculators who are buying Beaxy or bought some BXY and they're hoping it will do well. They're not going to jump onto the trading platform on day one and put in $1 million of volume, right? So it's important to remember that this is a snowball effect situation. And sort of like any exponential growth, you get two people hanging out chatting about it. They tell their two buddies, and now you got 4 people talking about it, and they tell their buddies, and you got 8 people, right? And it gets big fast, but the first little while is very slow. And I want to talk a little bit about this Binance chart. And this is what I expect will happen with BXY. And no, I'm not trading it. Okay, I've got a bag. I'm not really touching at least until like fiat's rolled out and we see some of those other features added and all like round 1, 2, 3 listings, and we see the early PLS token fee sharing returns and how that's like all those catalysts are going to take 3 to 5 months to really hit the fan. And I'm sitting on my hands. So, but I will be covering it, and I might trade a little bit here and there just for the sake of trading. But for the majority of what I got in the ICO and pre-sale, I'll be holding, just for the record. But here's what I expect to happen. You've got a large number of people who participated in Paper Street. After they participated, it is human nature to get very excited, right, about the thing that, probabilities over certainty, Castillo. I totally agree. It's very normal in ICO world to buy a bag of something, and after you buy it, what do? You go and you research it more, and you talk to the other guys who bought it, and you get really bullish, and then you think, man, this is actually going to be bigger. I want more. That's normal, and a lot of people go for their second ICO buy. Sometimes it's even bigger, right? I actually did the same thing with Beaxy a year later after the pre-sale, bought another bag, and so what happened with Beaxy, which is really interesting, which could provide an early catalyst for some very quick, early gains, is that they actually, I say burned, but the tokens didn't exist, so they didn't burn them, but they reduced the token supply from 1 billion, which is what people were buying under the assumption that there would be 1 billion of them. Now there's only 500 million. And that obviously doubles the speculative potential, right? That happened after that ICO. So I expect there to be that kind of pent up buying pressure. And as you can see here, that happened, right? A lot of ICOs, when they first launch, everyone's so excited and they're FOMO, they're worried that they're going to miss something. So they all just buy. Then what happens? You get the profit takers, you get the flippers, right? You get people who are saying, you know what, I've made my 2, 3, 4X. I know how this works. I'm going to sell off. And they get out and they get out and they trickle down. And this is not nothing, right? I mean, if you zoom out, if we can get some auto, look at this. It looks like nothing, right? You look back, you're like, oh, there's nothing. But let's think about this. This is what do we got here? About 2 weeks of time. And for all of you who stare at charts a lot, 23 days, that's almost a month, right? So that is a month of time that passed. We're talking about Binance. The Binance, it's so big, right? This is a 32% drawdown from its early peak in a month. So temper your expectations. Now, this also happened in 2017 in the meat of a bull market, right? Right in the heart of a bull market. And this is mid 2019. We are sort of post bottom, I'd like to say. Who knows? But we are, we're not in a bull market yet. We are in Chop City. And so the conditions are a little different. Now, I want to talk about another catalyst that I think put Binance on the map. Luckily, we have a bit of that going on, or the Beaxy has a bit of that going on as well. And that's gas. Okay. If you were around in 2017, you may remember, I should actually go back here. This is like AntShare days. So AntShares rebranded to Neo, right? So here was, 2017 started here. This is AntShares as far as I know. I believe it was AntShares back then. And it wasn't until sometime during 2017, probably here. It's probably like the insiders buying. They're like, oh, we're going to rebrand to Neo. Insiders buying, and then just like, that was an insane pump. If you were around for that and you weren't on that, you were thinking about it and you were wishing you were, and you were FOMOing. Massive. Look at that FOMO. Just like everything changes when the name changes. It was a Chinese Ethereum. That was the theme here, right? It's going to be the same as Ethereum, but Chinese. And there's more people in China than everywhere else, so it's big. That was the theme, right? And then this cute little token called gas came out on the scene. And it was only trading. I was playing with this chart earlier. Is that a car alarm? Are you serious? Get it together. It was only trading this little token here. August 7th is when it started trading on Binance. And if we go look, August 7th, look at that, right? So this launch of gas, August 7th, right here, look at that, kicked off what became a massive bull run. Not right away, but over time, obviously 2 years. So this was the launch of gas. This is actually the day I heard about it, because think about it. You're sitting there, you're staring at this. This is the way crypto, we've talked about this on the show before. This is the way the markets work in speculative markets, right? Yeah, Neo was fun. Dude, if you got in on Neo, that's awesome. I mean, AntShares was like $1 when I first joined crypto. I didn't know what it is, didn't care. I didn't really get in on Neo. I think I bought some at like, I don't know, $23. I guess I did, but I didn't get that full like retire bag, but whatever. But look at this. You're looking at Neo, right? I mean, this is the one I was just looking at. This wasn't even it, right? It was a few weeks later. It really killed it. If you missed this, what are you doing? You're thinking, where's the next one? Where's my fix, right? August 7th. Look at this. August 7th, right here. That's when gas started trading on Binance. I don't know if gas existed before that. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on this whole thing. Like I said, it wasn't like an AntShares ICO buy or anything like that. That was 2016, or even earlier, maybe 2014. They started building it up. Anyways, no, I think it was 16. So August 7th, here we are. There's a lot of FOMO. Neo's about to run again. Gas starts trading. Okay. And as you can see, it didn't wait. It didn't have 14 days. It literally just went whoop, because everyone knows that it is the thing that's going to pay for the gas function on Neo, and Neo's big. So this will be big. Dumped. Look at this. It actually coincided with the start of the Binance BNB bull run so beautifully, because it was the only place you could get it. And it's actually why I created my Binance account. So I should thank gas, because I was like, ooh, this looks good. Neo's great. I missed it mostly. So I'm going to go get some of this. And I showed up here and I started looking at BNB. And let me just, for those of you who think Binance is just this monopoly thing, which it is now, it was a shitty, sketchy, quote unquote, Chinese exchange that nobody wanted to join. I was in the Stratus altcoin channel at the time. Nobody wanted to listen to old RT and my ideas that, I just saw the value prop right away, right? Traders pay a lot of fees. This cut your fees in half. I thought, how's that not going to be popular? There's no other exchange that'll let you use this token to cut your fees. And so that right away to me was like, well, the one thing we know about crypto is people like to trade it. And this is the first use case that, really shone through to me. But I was new in the space. I was a little newer. Definitely didn't have a huge port or anything like that. Not that I have a huge port now, but I mean, like it was a very modest portfolio. And I bought some around here for 7,300 sats, which looks cool now if I actually still had any, but I don't. I sold it off in the run. But long story short, bought some here, came back. I mean, if we look on the 4 hour, you can see this wasn't quite as ridiculous, as it looks there. Oh my gosh, why does it reset when you switch the time? Yes, this is what I remember seeing. It looked like this weird thing, like on the Binance charts, which used to be so much crappier. It looked like this, right? It was just this cute little staircase. It was pretty reasonable. You're like, oh, look, it's going up. Like every couple of days, you're like, oh yeah, it's going up. It's going up. It didn't really pop until, the 13th. It doesn't, it looks different on the daily, but you can see here, it was a little staircase. So I actually came back, got some at 12, got something. And then of course I was like so excited. This is the first thing I bought that really kind of mooned, quote unquote. And it shot up. And over the next few weeks, and then of course everyone's like, oh yeah, BNB, Binance token, so cool. So point being, the main catalyst that drew eyes in a FOMO sense to Binance was gas. And so let's take a look. Yeah, it took me a while to join Binance, and then they had all the good listings. That's right, Castillo Trading. And that's actually the other thing. People say, well, they only have 12 pairs. There's not really much you can trade there. And so the key to a new exchange, and that's what I love about Beaxy, the key to a new exchange is you have to have things that other exchanges don't, right? It's not enough to just show up and say, hey, we have an exchange. Okay, cool, because I already have like 10 and I don't need a new one. Oh, wait, I have an exchange who's offering Dragon and Box token to US investors for the first time. Anyone in the US that wanted those tokens really with, legit, other than like IDEX and whatever, they're going to have to go. Now they can go get them at Beaxy. Or somebody might say, I would like a fee sharing model. Well, KCS came out and did that, whatever. But point is, you've got to offer something original. Fees, no fees for the first month. And that's a great promotion, because in a month, bigger traders, bigger accounts will be paying thousands of dollars in fees, right? I mean, if you held funding on the other day on Bitcoin, there was a guy I was talking to, he paid $1,000 in one day on his position just on funding on BitMEX. That's a fee, right? So I think Beaxy has a few things that could help them with an early catalyst, but I am very aware that on the daily, it could be boring. I really do think we will see something like this, right? Of course, coming out, it's going to be excitement. Yeah, trading's launched. We're going to fire up. And inevitably, there will be people who decide they would rather, do what they do, take a little profit, blah, blah, blah. We'll have a trickle down, and there will be some sort of bottoming out process. Where that is, nobody knows. But it'll take a while. And so right here, was it 7th? I mean, yeah, that was about 20 days. This is a month of time, right? And then it wasn't until that catalyst hit with the gas token. So I expect this kind of stuff to take time. And imagine 27 days of no moon in the Discord, right? It's going to be like, when moon? And of course, then everyone starts having their doubts, and maybe somebody really ballsy starts fudding them and being like, oh man, the KYC, none of the other exchanges force KYC, so no one's going to join. It's all going to hell, right? We'll have those cycles. And there was some nasty FUD on Binance. You want to see, like, look at this. September 4th, China banned Bitcoin. Chinese exchange dead. Bro, let me tell you about the sweat that day. Oh, that's not the tool I need. I'll tell you about how sweaty it was to watch this thing drop 82%. Your favorite moon bag, you're rich, you're going to be rich, I'm a millionaire. 82% drop. China bans Bitcoin. Binance going to be seized, shut down. The FUD was insane. You think Beaxy is going to be any different? There will be something. There always is. When big tokens come out, people want to get them cheap. They will come up with something. I'm very curious to find out what they'll FUD on it. Let's check in with the chat here. We've got Castillo Trading talking it up with Forrest Long. Took me a while to join Binance. Yeah, they're making some good money. Oh, COB token. I never actually got on Robinhood. I've heard heard the name quite a bit. And guy was talking to me about it. I never followed up. Oh, well, hey, if you haven't actually gotten any BXY yet, I mean, personally, as someone who has, the amount that I'd like, I'm just going to hold and wait. I'm just waiting. I'm not going to get sucked into this early sort of price action when we don't know what's going on, when half the features aren't launched. There's going to be growing pains, no volume. Like, I get it. And that's realistic. So I'm not, not touching it. But if I was like feeling a little FOMO or whatever, I'd try to probably just get a little bit early and then let it shake out a bit, see where we're headed, not get caught up with this 5-day gainer thinking it's never going to come back. Everything, goes up, comes down. So, be safe. I don't really give out advice like that, but personally, and then of course that was just like a nice little run that kind of coincided with Neo and gas. Then we had just death, right? There was altcoin death. A lot of people don't know that about 2017. They only remember the hype at the end of 2017, but there was altcoin death for about 2.5 months when Bitcoin went on its rally around like the futures launching in it. So it wasn't until December 7th right here that the entire altcoin market bottomed. You could see an ETH BTC chart would really put that point home, because we know typically alts and alt seasons and rallies, they all follow that. And it was like death on December 7th, you see. So it was like dying. Oh my, we're coming back. No. And then everyone here that was thinking maybe I'll cut my bag, and then right here they were like, oh, thank God I'm saved. When this happened, like, I'm cutting my bag. There was a lot of bag cutting. What's going on, Laura? Welcome from Brazil. Good to see you, brother. So this was like the death spiral, right? And I mean, that's days, right? These are days. So that's like a week of like, we're all going to hell. And this was while Bitcoin was going to the moon. So everyone was cutting, trying to get into Bitcoin. Alt market bottomed out, and then of course went on the biggest face ripping rally that we have ever seen. I don't know about percentage wise. I heard there was some big one in, I don't know, 2016 or something, but whatever that one was, Bitcoin Jack told me about one time. But gain wise, that was sick. And that, and they all did. They all went a little ham. So point being, maybe got a little off my point there, but oh yeah. Okay. So following up, I have a little outline here so I don't get too off track. My ADHD kicks in and I go wild. Let's take a look. Oh, KCS, right? KCS, as far as I know, and if I'm wrong, please shout me out in the chat. Could be BXY be something we looked at, like the IEOs? Oh yeah, as far as in the Bravado Discord, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't include it in the IEO basket. I absolutely intend on covering BXY a lot in the Discord and my trade channel, as well as on the stream. So yeah, there will be some setups that I'll share as I see them. Fundamentally, I think it's primed and good to go. I think technically we need to wait for, a month or so of trade data on the charts to see, get some double bottoms and some breakouts and all that. But KCS came out in September 17th area. September 16th, KCS started trading, right? So that was about 12 days after the China FUD, after Binance was looking, scary. And I think KuCoin came out. It was basically a cookie cutter exchange. It had all the same stuff as Binance. It was literally like a copy paste code. But they had that token. And what do you do when you miss something like we talked about with Neo and gas? When you see a big moon and you missed it, what do? Well, you look for its neighbor, you look for its cousin, you look for its buddy, and you find something like it, and then you buy it. And that narrative runs wild, right? Ethereum went crazy, Chinese Ethereum, right? And then Neo goes crazy. So, and of course, then people go, oh, wait, it's just the same. Like it's, it's nothing. Oh my God. And that's why crypto is so volatile, because it's based on human emotion, right? There's no real valuable thing you can tie to it other than sort of what the stories we tell ourselves. And so we see our big pumps when everyone's like, this is going to be the next thing. Yeah, right. The KuCoin FUD was incredible, or the FUD was incredible on KuCoin. And I actually hope, if we don't get a massive FUD campaign on Beaxy, like I'll be concerned, because the best tokens do. Remember Walton Chain? I don't know if anyone knows Walton Chain. Another one that just went insane during that bull run, and even before. See if I can pull it up here, but let's see, WTC. This was an old favorite of mine. Again, this was one of those quote unquote sketchy Chinese projects. It was Binance exclusive. You could only trade it on Binance. And this was the FUD. I actually remember this day. This was your September 4th Chinese ban right here. And I remember this day because it was the day before. I'm a teacher, and at the time I was still teaching full time. And yeah, this was the day before school, first day of school. And I was talking to a trader who knew a lot more than me. And he said, look at the volume. This thing's going to dump, blah, blah, blah. And I was asking him, where should I set my bids? And I told him, like, here. He's like, no, lower. And look, and it swept the lows perfectly. He actually said, and I tuck a little bit under here. And I swear to God, I don't have the screenshot, but just believe me, I caught a bid at 9,500 sats, which obviously aged well because it's like the all-time low. So that was a sick FUD campaign here. Everyone was saying that they were like fake and they were Chinese, they were going to get banned. And, turns out they were a very strong project. FUD is not, anytime you raise doubts, people are like, you're a FUDder. It's not. I mean, FUD is like, there's places, companies, entities that will pay people to promote, campaigns against it. Now think about this. Just say, and I'm not an expert in this, so disagree with me if you like, but just say you have a $50 million short position on something. Would it make sense to pay 50 grand to somebody to basically put a ton of work and effort into manufacturing false negative information about that and publishing it anonymously? And as we can see, it works, right? You get that Chinese thing. Now, this was like literally just uncertainty. There was a lot of China ban and nobody knew what was going to happen. So that might not have been as manufactured. But there was certainly like some professional fudders in the, the Telegram or whatever it was at the time, the Slack. And I remember just thinking like this dude is persistent. He is short or like just sold his bag or he's working for someone, whatever. They wanted it cheap. And it's not hard to FUD when you're in a speculative market like crypto, right? Because nobody can just be like, no, look at their earnings reports. This stock is worth that. It's just a token and it's worth the story that we tell ourselves. And if it's a nasty story, it loses all value right away. So yeah, so Binance took, I have the wrong fib on. How dare I? Fib's my favorite thing, as y'all know. I gotta get my, So yeah, I mean, it had like, what was it? 45 days from top to bottom? No, more than that. Wow. It's 114 days, right? So, I mean, from this perspective, you could say this was the coming out party for BNB, which was like sort of, the around the gas and all that. And then it died on the Chinese ban. And then it had sort of like a little, retrace. Actually, I bet it's perfect retrace to, I bet that's a 50%. Let's take a look. The GAN level. Let's see. A little bit, yeah. There's your 50% retrace, right? So it's that little sort of exhale of the market, or anyways. And then just trickle down. That's 114 days. So yeah, temper your expectations on Beaxy, right? I love this quote. People often overestimate what can happen in a short time, and underestimate what can happen in a long period of time. And I think we're seeing that. You see that with the Amazon stock, right? NASDAQ boom, and it's like, wah, bubble. And then a couple of years later, and it's like, boom, boom, and it's this massive mountain next to the little anthill that was that huge bubble. So temper your expectations early. Personally, I like to lower my expectations, because if I say, now let's get into Beaxy a bit. I think I've rambled on about the exchange token history, right? We got the copycat with Huobi, we got the copycat with KCS. They all did well. I mean, the value prop is there. The speculative story is there. This is why I love Beaxy. We could even get into my watch list here. I mean, we've got buy box token, 30 mil market cap. Like, I don't know, shit exchange. I'm not an expert on it. I've been there once. I think I have an account, but like trash. Nothing original. And its market cap shows that. So, you got BitMax coming out with some leverage, and they're putting on some interesting tokens. Okay, cool. CoinEx is like the BCH exchange. So they're basically like Bitmain and all that stuff. And they started an exchange, and it was like all the pairs are just BCH, no BTC pairs, and trying to do that whole thing. SEC got some crazy good runs. Actually traded it a little bit last summer through this whole mess. And then thank God I got out, because it hit hard down to like 260 sats, down from like, whatever it was, 2000. Oh wait, that's like an anthill from this year. I'm talking about a year before that. It went even crazier. It was up to like 2000 sats. Wow. Okay, so it's not showing us the history here. Oh wait. No. Yeah, no. CMC hates this coin. I don't know why, because it's like still doesn't have a market cap. It's been out for almost a year. I think it's because it's one of those what do you call it? Fee mining, where you like mine new coins by like trading, and it's just wash trading. It's crap. And then Bigogo. We all saw the Bigogo pop, right? I mean, I know we had some trades on it in the Discord. It was like 18 sats. Now let's go all the way up to 93. So yeah, I mean that got, and and then it died because like there's not a lot of substance to this one. Again, I didn't like anything about it. There's a lot of sketchy stuff going on in the order books where like big orders were coming in right where you wanted them. So you put your order there and then it skips you or miss it. Like it's just terrible, terrible experience. So hated it. So long story short, there was an echo effect and oh my God, KCS, it's like can't even fit on the chart. So yeah, I mean, my whole thing is like KuCoin didn't really evolve. They didn't offer too much that's original. They're coming along now. I will give them that. They've got some interesting new features. They're making some changes, but look what they did. So, if you ask me, Beaxy has a couple more features than these guys. So, I'm very excited to see what Beaxy can do, but I am prepared to wait. I'm prepared to temper my expectations, and here's why. If you expect it to come out at just say 25 cents, you're like, oh man, this thing like that market cap's going to be 45 million, and we just looked at this here. We just looked at sort of the other, okay, smooth. We just looked at some of the other market caps, and I would say KuCoin, like I'd say Beaxy deserves to at least be half of that. So yeah, we're going to be 45 million, but if it's not that on day one or week one or month one, and you thought it would be, you start to have these emotional thoughts, right? You're like, oh, I was wrong. And then as it starts dumping, maybe that FUD starts up. And now you're risking making bad decisions. Whereas if I think, okay, you know what? This thing was like OTC for 6 cents at its highest, I think, or 5 cents. ICO for 3.5 to 4.5 cents. I think private pre-sale went as low as 1 cent if you bought like buckets of it. And 2 cents, I think, is actually the only one I know of. I'm guessing maybe there was a 1 cent option somewhere for like a millionaire. But okay, so let's say it launches at 7 cents. Is that really that bad? 6 cents? I mean, even this like 1x, we're in an ICO market where a lot of these things are tanking by 80%, right? You're getting the 0.3x, right? So like, yeah, I'm sitting here thinking like, I'll be happy with 7, 8, 9 cents, little chop city. And if it stays above that forever, like that's great. But I'm not going to worry if we don't hit 45 mil. First of all, it's going to take a little while to get listed on CoinMarketCap. That's a lot of eyeballs, right? It's going to take a while to get listed on Blockfolio, Delta, Coinigy, hopefully someday TradingView, right? These are like the growing pain type things you don't necessarily always think about, right? The tech is great. It's going to be there. But early on, we've got to be prepared as speculators for the growing pains. And like I said, out of 60,000 pre-registered users, I imagine there is a bunch who want to trade on it, but I don't imagine they're all big account day traders. So where's that volume going to come from? Well, it's probably not going to be there early on, right? I am anticipating, uncomfortably low volume, but it will grow as the fees are zero. And then of course, BXY's performance will be the catalyst, the driver. I imagine Box token could provide a decent catalyst because it's getting no love on Bittrex, but now will be available to US investors, and they have a whole bunch of announcements they're talking about, and I have a feeling they're saving them for that Beaxy launch. And if that happens, where are you going to go buy your Box? Beaxy. And if that can go on a run and it's the only place you can get it, there you go. There's your gas. There's your Neo, right? So there's all kinds of things I'm thinking could start us off. But eventually, or inevitably, it will be a slow start. There will be growing pains. There will be bugs. There will be little mistakes. And, and you've just, let's just breathe through it. Because if you get yourself chopped up in the first few weeks because you're thinking about this and that, you may miss sort of, what you were here for. Some of these bigger ones. I mean, these big ones look so sexy and easy from here, but like, think about this. Like, what if you're here, right? So you're here, just made some really nice gains, and then it just dumps for 5 or 6 days straight. And you're like, man, I should have sold. I'm selling now. Oops. All right. So patience. I mean, I don't know. You got to do your thing. I personally decided like, okay, like I really want to lock some PLS and have some, passive income. So that's my play. But again, we'll be covering a lot of the trading stuff, the TA, what's BXY up to today, kind of stuff on the stream. We're actually thinking about Cheese and I sort of doing some other streams too, where we're sort of on our own or bringing on other guests. I know Cheese's main thing, he likes to scalp. This guy was like, give me 3 SR levels and, can Coke and whatever. And I'll get you a trade, right? He loves that stuff. And so we were talking the other day, and he may branch off and do a bit more of that, where is I'll be sort of like Beaxy heavy for a while and focusing on this amazing exchange, which is exciting. Now, I would love to share a sneak peek. Make sure I hit all the talking points I had tonight. Yeah, I mean, early catalysts, volume will take time. Volume just will, and it's going to be people talking about, word of mouth. Oh, I had this great experience on Beaxy the other day. Oh, and there's this coin you have to go there to buy, and it's going to go way up. So it'll take some time, but it could surprise us all. I really hope it does, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm going to wait. Stopping the share. Okay. I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to try it again. I don't really feel comfortable showing my name, full name, doxing my full self. And my Beaxy account obviously shows that. So I'm going to try to share a bit of the screen without doxing myself. Portion of screen, share, carry. See if I can do this. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but be ideal. All right. Nope, not there yet. Nope. All right. So let's see. Okay. So I'll shrink it. All right. And how far can I drag it? I can drag it to my name. Sick. All right. So here is your sort of sneak peek. It's not a sneak peek. I mean, the thing's open. You can take a look. But if you haven't signed up yet, here's a look at it. And, I put a little bit of ETH in my wallet earlier. Test it out. I got to say, a lot of exchanges, you send your tokens in and then it shows up on the blockchain. It's confirmed, 20 times, and you click on Bittrex or whatever, Binance, and it just hasn't even shown up yet as pending. And you start to sweat and you get all nervous. How awkward is that? Give me a shout out in the chat if you've ever, one of your sweat stories, because I actually just had it the other day. A buddy of mine sent me some Bitcoin so I could buy him some Leo because he thought I had access. Turns out Canadians don't either. And it confirmed 3 times on the blockchain and still hadn't shown up in the exchange. And that's an uncomfortable experience. Well, I'm happy to report that when I sent Ethereum into Beaxy, it showed up in 17 seconds. Okay, I've got my Mu here, my Ether wallet. I've got my Beaxy account here, and in 17 seconds, of course, it's because the blockchain's fast. But the second it confirmed, it was like boom, pending, and I was like, oh my god, this is the first time this has ever happened. It's amazing. So we've got some pairs. I'm very excited to see how this goes. You've got your calculator. I haven't even tried this out yet. Lots of stuff you can do here with the calculator. I won't pretend to teach you it now, but I will definitely be diving in and sharing some information on that later. Basically plugging in things, and then you can set like, okay, I want to make 10 cents, or excuse me, 10% on this trade, and it'll sort of calculate some of the stuff for you. And then you can autofill the order. How sweet is that? Oh my gosh. Amazon's calling me right now. I think there's a 1 second. This is awkward. Hello? Yes, you're delivering. Are you here now? 2 minutes. Okay, thanks. Bye. Oh my gosh, I have a package coming. It's actually just ink for my printer, not that exciting, but she's gonna be here, so that's weird. Anyways, I might have to cut the scene for that. let's take a look here. 250,000 pairs or transactions per second per pair. That's the big bragging point of the engine behind Beaxy. And if I can find, I've got Aeon, I've got Box, got my favorites listed up here. So excited. And I like that they're using USDC. I think the world has seen enough about Tether. I think the world has seen, enough of this fractional reserve system, and USDC posts their backing monthly, which is great, and it's fast. So that'll be the nice thing, and expect to see more of that. I think Tether was its thing, and this year is the year of the stablecoin, and we're going to see a lot more rolling out, and we're going to see volume shift, right? Because what's the big knock on all these nice new stablecoins is that there's just not enough volume, and there's actually a great little chart. Actually, let me see if I can just find this right here. I love this thing. Money flow. Where are you? Let's see. Global cryptocurrency charts. Yeah, check this thing out. I love this chart. So here's your money flow in the last 24 hours. Just shrink right onto it. Great little bit of info. And you can see here, Tether still dominates the market in a big way. And I think what we'll see over the next year or 3 is that will start to shift towards faster, more efficient, more trustworthy, more transparent coins. And I think USDC, I'm not an expert on it. I haven't looked into it a lot. But I have spoken briefly with the team about it and their choice of using it, and it makes sense. So I think we'll see that. So that's a cool little money flow chart. What to do? Yeah, I think that's it. The other thing I kind of wanted to look at, it was posted here earlier. Let me pull it up. For those of you who just don't know Beaxy at all, I think a lot of people in here kind of already do. But let's take a look here. Maybe talk some of these talking points. And if Amazon lady calls me back, I might just have to run and we'll cut the stream for the night. But we are at that 45-minute mark, so that is sort of our cap. They built with one market data and was it, I think, one tick technology. I have to double check. But they've built this entire thing from scratch, and it's not this cookie cutter. I think Buybox, Qcoin, Binance, all came from Binance. Binance has innovated since, but they all kind of started with that base. So they're going to have the same capacities, the same problems, the same issues, not as innovative. Very excited about their architecture. Okay, long-term scaling. Oh, that was a point I wanted to touch on. KYC. I think we may be unpleasantly surprised in the short term with the effect that the required KYC has, because a lot of traders, especially after tax season they got after 2017, they don't want to pay tax. Sad. I paid tax on mine. I thought we should. I'm a teacher. I get paid by public school fees and taxes. It's just a moral thing for me. I believe in taxes, but some people don't. A lot of people don't. And they may not want to KYC. So early on, we may not see that same rush in because people get scared by that. Long term, though, there are prop traders who are trading $40 million accounts in the United States who are not allowed to deposit on Binance, who would love to trade crypto with some of their account. They may be allowed to deposit on Beaxy because they're going to be fully compliant, regulated, with the same market surveillance technology as the NASDAQ and some of these other big exchanges. And so again, one of those underestimate or overestimate in the short term and then underestimate in the long term. So the KYC thing I think it's great news long term, because there's a ton of money outside of crypto right now that won't touch it because it's the Wild West and it's unregulated and it's blah, blah, blah. This, changing of the guard, but it may be a slow transition. Loyalty program, huge, right? BNB doesn't do that. KCS does that. But they never really exploded with it. I think I made like $25 one month, with a bunch of when they were at their peak, when they were going nuts, right? I didn't have a ton of KCS, but yeah, $20 a month. I don't know. I'm more excited about this one, mostly because it's much more generous and you have to lock it. And I think locking it takes a lot of BXY out of circulation, which leaves less to be sold, less to be bought. And, generally that does okay for price if adoption grows. Discounting trading fees, of course, that's the main use case of an exchange token, and that's right in here. You can lock it in and do that as well. I think if you max out on all the ways you can save on fees, I think you can get like 75% off fees. So lots of good stuff there for traders. High throughput performance. Yeah, we talked a bit about that. Insane. These guys were testing at things that were faster than legacy exchanges. So that's pretty cool. Coin staking. Yeah, same thing about the sort of discounted fees. Crazy good support. I actually sent in 4 support tickets in the first week. And they all got answered within 2 hours. Now, obviously, we're small still, but like that'll scale, and they have sort of focus on maintaining that. So that's great. Security, very impressed with everything I've seen with them with the security so far. It's above my head, but the fact that they have sort of white hat hackers on their payroll that are basically trying to hack them all the time to find those vulnerabilities so they can just take it first. I love that. Love that idea, right? The idea of a white hat hacker. We've seen it in crypto a lot. More recently, I believe it was the team itself with KMD and Komodo, who basically hacked their own stuff just to protect it because they found the vulnerability. But that happened before, and I'm forgetting the name of the coin or the exchange, or it was like a wallet or something. But there was a hack, and then like they found it a week later. It was white hat hackers, and they actually went and sent all the funds back, and were like, yeah. And then they got paid a bunch because why wouldn't you pay guys that do that for you? It's actually like Batman in the computer hacking world. I would love to do that if I was smarter at this stuff. So they have that going on, and that gives me confidence. And that's the big elephant in the room, right? New exchange cannot suffer a hack like in the early days. I mean, Binance, they're at a point now where they can swallow a $40 million hack. They've got buckets of money saved, stashed. And I do for what it's worth. I trust CZ. I trust that he would pay back customers to just about in any way he possibly could, because he's smart and he knows that crypto. He's a champion of crypto, and I have all the same faith in the Beaxy team. But again, they got to get through that growing pain moment, and nobody knows that more than them. And I have faith in them, and I know the guys. I met them, and just genuinely smart and good dudes. So I don't have any issues there myself. And then you get your referral program, which is going to help it grow, as well as the interface. Oh my God, the interface is going to be so good. And it's just like, this is like, version 1, right? I mean, wait till they get feedback and tons of, users and all this stuff where they're going to be like really vamping this up so you can customize it even more. So I think I've said enough about this beautiful exchange. And if you have any questions about the history of exchange tokens, now is a great time to ask, because I'm starting to run out of things that I wanted to talk about. Just kind of pumped. And I guess the main message tonight is, temper expectations early and don't underestimate potential late, right? I mean, could this thing run up to 50 mil market cap and then suffer some kind of catastrophic blah, blah, blah? And yeah, like, could that be the end? Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Could it run to $1 billion market cap? It's possible. Like, look, Binance coin just basically touched 5 billion. Dude, I remember when we were having like, oh my God, Binance coin is going to be worth $1 someday. And it hit $1, right? And everyone's popping champagne in the Slack channel. And it was all like, because that was like, I believe that was possibly after the China FUD. So, everyone had been worried. And then it was like, oh, look, we actually did make $1. So no, it was here. There was $1 somewhere in here, I think. Oh, it was, wow. It was like a 2-week period where we were like, someday we'll be $1. And then we were, it was like up to $1.43 or something. And then China FUD. So yeah, this was a journey. Binance coin didn't really become a thing until the bear market, when everyone says, oh man, this is legit. It's like bulletproof, doesn't even die in the bear market. So give it time, young Padawans. Not to mention that, we don't have that same retail wave flooding into the market that we had in 2017. That'll take some time. But I'm willing to wait. I'm excited. And I think, I think most any like serious investors get that, and they're pretty chill. I don't think anyone's banging down the door to have it tomorrow. But I'm so excited. I just want to see it trade. I just want to watch. And I think that's it for today. I'm just getting into Rambletown. And one thing I've learned about myself is when you get there, just sign out for a bit. Shoot me a DM. Excuse me, not a DM. Don't DM me. Message me in the Discord if you have any other questions or you want to follow up a little bit. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and like the video if you found it informationally valuable. And love to see the participation tonight from Forrest Long and some Lauro saying what up. Good to see you guys. And hopefully we'll have Cheesy back on the episode next week. So he and I can get into some of that back and forth banter. And my roommate doesn't think I'm crazy. Just talking to myself all day. All right. With that, signing out. Oh, yeah. And if you feel like it, you can follow me on Twitter, randomtask555. I mean, I don't have many followers. So, I don't blame you if you don't want to. But I am going to start pumping out a little more stuff on Twitter because it's growing on me like a little bit. I don't know. Kind of a noob. Take care and go Raps, go. Game 6 tonight. Big things. Take care, Forrest. Appreciate you too, brother. Cheers, y'all.